What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I am Lord Vader, joined as always by my two favorite Imperial subjects, Matthew Spawnhour and Theo Ash. We have a great episode planned for you all today. I wish I could do that with a straight face, but I can't. We have a great episode planned for you all today. We're going to talk about Week 8 of the NFL season, do a big recap of all the games that happened today on this beautiful Sunday, and all of you watching will be on Monday. So to all of you, happy Halloween. I'm, of course, dressed up as Darth Vader. Matt was supposed to be a mechanic.
I don't have it in me right now.
He looks just like a mechanic. He was a mechanic last night. He's dressed up as my friend Andrew. He wears hats and sweatshirts like that all the time.
For Halloween this year, I'm a guy who's had enough. The Wi-Fi got taken out by a storm. They can't come fix it till Wednesday. I'm on the phone. It's not good.
Panthers.
The Panthers
Can't have shit in Ohio. They thought I wasn't in a costume. For those listening in, I'm dressed as Bender from The Breakfast Club, a movie that I had not seen when I got this costume. I had not seen it, but I do have a thread.
You know what's funny?
So
because when I asked you,
my God.
Can you please relax? Can you please relax?
No, dude, that's actually like, how do you guys not know who I am? It's like you haven't seen
literally that. He was literally like, how do you guys not know?
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Okay. I had not seen it when I bought the costume, but I did go and I looked through the thread of people because I had to get something last minute. I went through the thread of people I have been compared to. And this guy from The Breakfast Club, who I know the character. Everyone has seen clips from this movie before. Everyone has seen him throw the fist up in the air at the end. Like, this is not a character I was completely unfamiliar with. So I got the costume and then I watched the movie and then I went out. So I had seen the movie and was familiar with it by the time I went out, like, on the town for Halloween. Okay.
That doesn't move me. Not good enough.
All right. Well, my review of the movie.
Like, I'm a Darth Vader fan, so like I'm Vader.
He's the bad guy, dude. How do you like him?
Yeah, I'm
more of a Luke.
A Luke fan.
He's an
myself,
anti-hero. He's an anti-hero.
I like the good guys personally.
He's not an anti-hero. He's just literally just a villain. He just destroys planets for no reason.
Bro, he's misunderstood. All right.
He's literally just evil.
All he wanted to do was love his wife. That's it. And the Jedi wouldn't let him.
He didn't. He killed her. He choked her to death. Well, I guess I don't know. He didn't want to love her that badly. I don't know if he's an anti-hero. I will say my review of The Breakfast Club is it was good until the end. And I can't even remember the name of this character. The girl who doesn't talk. At the end of the movie, she gets a makeover. And like apparently she's supposed to be like, super hot after the makeover. Biggest downgrade in history after this makeover. She was so bad before the makeover. And then they at the end, they made her like look all 80s or whatever. And I was like, man, she really wasn't all that. That really took me out of the movie. And that's my review of The Breakfast Club. But anyway, I digress.
Look forward to having seen it.
It was just such a travesty.
I haven't heard you say that you digress, Theo, in a minute.
He's done digressing.
Anyway, before we get into the NFL, I compel you all to subscribe to you will subscribe to the YouTube channel. You want to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You want to get us to 30 subscribers. For those listening on Spotify or Apple, I'm using like the Force.
You sounded just like him.
Oh, yeah.
That is just...
I'm just being a dickhead. All right, let's get into some football. Should we start with Actually, no. We're going to start with the Jets because, Theo, you put in our group chat that you wanted to give a Zach Wilson rant. I mean, really, this was just a tale of two terrible quarterbacks, Mac Jones and Zach Wilson, trading interceptions like it was their job. It's awful.
Yes, I wanted to go on the Zach Wilson rant because, have you guys seen the Chell Hero guy who replies to me almost every single tweet with he's got like a Toronto Maple Leaves profile picture? He replies to almost every single thing that I've ever posted. You're not familiar with him? He replies to everything and he's a huge Jets fan and he's so annoying and he's like, and so many Jets fans, like, Wilson sucks. Zach Wilson today, and he got off to a good start in the first quarter. The first like 2 drives of this game, he played well. And I got probably like 10 replies that are like, notice how Theo Ash is silent about Zach Wilson's good quarter of football. And I was like, they got to be patient. They got to wait on it. He ends the half by throwing a horrific pick where, like, yes, he was pressured, but just because you're pressured a lot in the NFL and you need to be able to make good throws after pressure, he can't do that. He throws a pick, and then the second half is just an unmitigated disaster where he cannot throw the football away. He's holding on to it for like 4 seconds, running around, cannot dirt it, cannot find open guys. He cannot play in structure, and he's the worst out of structure quarterback in the league. He never does anything good out of structure, ever. Going into this game, like the positive play rate of him under pressure was 0%. 0. He does not do shit when he makes guys miss. He like will run around in the backfield for like 5 seconds, like making guys miss, juking guys out. People will be like, oh, Jets fans, not even people, just Jets fans will be like, Flacco gets sacked there. No, Flacco like throws it to like the check down. Any quarterback throws it to the check down. They do something. I don't know. They run forwards instead of backwards. I don't care what they do. But he's so like lost all the time. He doesn't know how to execute anything. And like, oh my God, it's just painful. It's painful to watch the missed opportunities. It's painful to watch the accuracy. It's painful to watch the poise. It's just terrible. And they need to bench him. They need to draft a new quarterback next year because the only time he ever did anything good in BYU was when their schedule was like unfathomably easy. He was not worth a first round pick. He was barely worth a second round pick if you really, really, I think, watched his film critically in college. And it's just not going to work. I'm confidently ready to say like this is not going to work. Not going to work. And I get that guys need time to develop and all that. And I would feel differently if like his college film was like actually like that, but it's not. And that's my rant. That's more than any other quarterback in the league. I do not believe in him.
Yeah, the running around stuff is just like not enough. You know, I understand how you watch that and you're like, okay, this is, and he really like the escapability really is there. I'll give him
if
that.
If it was 7 on 7, like he's twitchy and he can like make guys miss. And it looks cool. But there's more to getting yards than running backwards and around everywhere, I'm afraid. And it's just like, not only does he like not really have that great of an arm when it comes to pulling off a lot of those throws. So when he is off platform or doing the arm angle stuff, a lot of times it just ends up in the dirt when he's trying to get downfield after that stuff. But also when he has the easy stuff, he doesn't know to take it. And, today I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw this depressing slideshow of him not playing good with like sad music play over. And the caption was like, he's got to step it up, man. So it's not the time. I wonder how, if there's some teams who have second year quarterbacks who are not playing all that great, who I would say you probably still give a third year, even though I think that going into the third season is pretty tough. And your odds are pretty bad unless they really start to show something. I wonder very much if the Jets are in that camp with Wilson, or if it's like, dude, this is just too far off of where you need to be, even for a young quarterback. Yeah, it's just he just doesn't have a strength. He is a good thrower of the football, like the arm angle stuff. Like there are times where it looks nice. Sometimes there's been like 5 occasions of that in his. There's been like the Bucks game. And then like 2 throws against the Titans. And like outside of that, it's just disaster after disaster. Like even today, like the touchdown to Conklin, he really stood in the pocket. He hung in there well. There was pressure off the edge. He hung in there, delivered a nice throw. There was a nice throw while he was rolling out to his right to Garrett Wilson. Like 2 nice plays for sure there. The rest, just like the rest is terrible. Like just, you cannot, every time, if you can just get him to move off of his spot, if he like takes a step, if he does not hit the top of his drop and throw it, you have won that rep, like as a defense. Cause he looks like he can create things cause he's just like running around, but he can't actually, like he is by far and away the worst quarterback at actually generating positive plays when he's under pressure, when he's outside of structure. Like if you actually look at the facts, it's terrible. So he's the one quarterback that I just am like, and oh my God, Jets fans, like if you said anything negative about him before this game, it would be like, well, he just banged your mom, so that's why you're mad at him. It's like, guys, come on, guys, like,
come on,
just such a bad and annoying dialogue.
That's a very telling sign for a young quarterback because, and like, especially in their first season, it's like defend that guy almost no matter what he possibly does. But then eventually, year 2 or year 3, if they aren't good, they have a game where it's like the fan base turns on them as like this, even for very low young quarterback expectations, you are missing the mark. And that might have been this for Zach Wilson.
That was the Packers game for the Browns. It was when Baker.
Right. That was when it was just like Mayfield, like when the expectations for the team are good and the team around them is not bad and there's no one else to blame and they just put up a stinker. It happens to all the guys who fall out.
Baker and I think Wilson are similar. Like they just lose their minds under pressure. They just like lose their minds. They cannot. They just like I'm one of my favorite Baker tweets is one from me where it's like they just treat the pocket like they're in Vietnam. It's just like they're ducking, they're covering. There's like sniper fire, and they're just like whoa. There's nothing calm about it. It's just panicked, and I think they're similar in that way where they just are not poised enough. And a lot of people will like defend Baker in the same way they'll defend Zach at this point, where it's like, well, he's got that dog in him for undisclosed. He grabbed his nuts and he planted the flag in college. So yeah, I love his mindset. Zach Wilson allegedly like got groomed by his mom's friend. So he's good. Like, what are we talking about? But anyway.
Yeah. I remember Matt and I were talking earlier about, looking up Zach Wilson's stats under pressure and how they're almost certainly the worst in the league. Oh,
no doubt. Easily.
It's just truly, it's terrifying to watch.
And Jets fans will point to like, and they'll point to one last thing. They'll be like, well, his stats from a clean pocket are great. And it's like, you know how good things have to be for him to keep a clean pocket around him? If like he creates his own pressure. So like, yes, when he doesn't do that, things go well, but that's because like on plays where there's a clean pocket for him, he must be getting the ball. Like everything has to be going perfectly. Cause the second it's not, he's going to create his own pressure. And even when it is sometimes perfect, like there are times where there'll be a clean pocket, there'll be someone open. And if he just made the throw right then and there, it would be a throw from a clean pocket, but he doesn't do it. And all of a sudden a throw that should have been a throw from a clean pocket is all of a sudden a throw that has been pressured. So he doesn't even throw from a clean, like he creates it. When he actually throws from the clean pocket, it's a throw from a clean pocket. But what those don't account for is all the times where there's a throw to be made from a clean pocket. He doesn't do it and creates his own pressure, which happens constantly. But
that's anyway. The whole like weird thing about like sacks and pressures is it's like if you look at pass rush win rate, and this is why I don't love like the like offensive line deserves a lot of credit for rushing attacks. But like, Saquon's better than Chubb because he runs well behind a bad offensive line. The difference in like run block win rate between a bad offensive line and a good offensive line is like 10%. It's like you're winning, like the Browns offensive line wins on like 10% more snaps than the Giants.
That's to me a pretty significant number.
It's a lot, but it's a lot to me if it's like 40 to 50%. Because it's like they still lose, but it's like 65 to 75%. Like you're still winning most of your snaps. That's how I look at it. And I think it's the same thing with pass blocking. It's like you're winning most of your snaps enough to where you should still be able to make throws from a clean pocket.
All stats are in everyone's stat. I think that's kind of what it comes down to a lot of the times. Like the stats are useful, no doubt, but everything is connected in certain ways. So, and I think we'll talk about that a little bit with maybe the next quarterback that we're on the agenda here.
Is it in the same game, Mac Jones?
Oh, no. I mean, Jones didn't play very well. Jones wanted to, I thought Jones for sure was going to leave this game with a concussion. That was my main takeaway watching the Patriots off. Jeez. He was lowering the shoulder. He was taking hits to the head. He was bombing. He was gunning it down the field. I think that's the thing about Mac Jones is I shouldn't see Mac Jones take that many hits. I should see Mac Jones attempt to do as much cool shit as he tries to do. Just be the point guard. You are a point guard. You can be good. He was good last year. Don't say that,
because some people think point guards are people want to be Kyrie. You don't want to be be Chris Paul.
Be Chris Paul. Or just be, I don't know, Malcolm Brogdon or something. Just distribute it. Don't try to don't try to run anybody over. Don't lower the shit. He's running all over the place. You are Mac Jones. Just be Mac Jones. And watching this game, sometimes it just doesn't feel like he knows that he's Mac Jones.
Well,
and
I don't know. I mean, does it get to a point where I wonder if Mac Jones is feeling a lot of pressure to be great, to keep his job?
Yes. With Belichick and Zappy breathing down his neck.
There's got to be some pressure there.
A lot of pressure. And obviously every quarterback is under pressure, but it does feel like he's trying to do too much. So he just needs to there's a good quarterback in Mac Jones. I'm not completely out on Mac Jones like I am Zach Wilson, despite the way he's played this year. Because I saw what he did his rookie year. He walked into that offense and he was good at it. That was not horrible quarterback play from Mac Jones last year as a rookie. Right. I know he is capable of of some decent games, but he can't do it like he's Lamar Jackson out there. Come on. So that was kind of my main, Wilson should be able to play like he's Lamar Jackson and win. He should be able to play like he's Kyler Murray and win. That's what he was billed as. And he can't do that. Jones shouldn't be able to do that in the first place. And he's still, I think, occasionally trying to. So that's
I think what's happened is I think Jones realizes that maybe the Patriots look and they're like, why the fuck did we draft Mac Jones in the first round when we got Mac Jones 2.0 in the fourth round this year? What? we got basically the exact same thing right behind him. We could very easily ship Mac Jones off, and it would be we almost made a profit with Bailey Zappi.
Yeah,
I think that's where Jones' head could be at, where it's shit. I need to
he's got to. I got to separate myself.
That I can, right, and he just can't. He can't.
Yeah,
it's not his fault. He's just not Lamar or Josh Allen.
If you watch football, you need Fubo TV. Fubo TV gives you complete coverage of college and pro football with NFL Red Zone, plus games in 4K at no extra charge. They've got over 100 channels of live sports and entertainment for just a fraction of the price of cable. Watch it on all your devices and never miss a game or an episode of your favorite shows with the included cloud-based DVR. Plus, there's no contract, no commitment, and you can cancel at any time. Right now, you can try Fubo TV free for 7 days and get 15% off your first month. Just go to FuboTV.com/stayhot. That's FuboTV.com/stayhot.
The Dolphins won today, and for a while, it didn't look like they would, but as the Detroit Lions typically do, they fumbled the bag, and the Lions,
they did.
The Dolphins came back and won the game.
They we've said this probably 100 times. They just do not have the talent defensively, and even granted, this is the ultimate test for a cornerback group is Waddle and Tyreek Hill, but how many good defensive players do they currently have right now? Not many.
It's Akuda.
I know.
It's Akuda. Hutchinson's promising. Their linebacker Rodriguez is promising, but to call them oh man, these are week in and week out good defensive starters. It's
do they have a single? Do they have a single Pro Bowler? Not even All Pro. A single Pro Bowler on that defense.
maybe Okudah if you really want to. If you really want to, like,
I don't
him
think
a ton
so.
of, and even then,
And then the other story is that the Tua dialogue continues with some very interesting game. He is having one of like the most, like, I don't know, as far as dialogue goes for a quarterback. The Tua is weird because I do agree, like on the short and intermediate stuff, he does well. And he moves well around the pocket. It's like, it's really not all bad, but dude, those deep shots are horrifying, man. They don't get anywhere. I mean, like Tyreek Hill is running like 10 yards back to the ball. And thank God he has him and Waddle because they make it work. But I do have to wonder if he just had good receivers who weren't doing like superhuman things on those to get them completed, what people would be saying about him. The numbers are going to look good, and until they don't, no one's going to care.
The EPA, I think he's number 1 in the league right now in EPA and completion percentage composite. I think he's number 1 above Allen, above Patrick Mahomes. Like the numbers are great. Today he put a torch. Like if you look at like his efficiency, it's crazy today. And it's not like he played bad. Like I don't want to sit here and be like, he actually sucked if you go back and watch it. Like he didn't suck. But the question you've got to, I think, holy cow, what a pick by Matt Milano right there. I'm watching the game behind it. That was incredible. But anyway.
Matt Milano's so good.
He's so good. He is crazy good. I don't know if he actually came down with that, but if he did, okay. Anyway, that was a little aside right there. But look, Jared Goff was a Pro Bowler in 2 straight years. He led a team to the Super Bowl. He was leading the best offense in the league. If you went back and watched his game against the Vikings a couple years ago, like where he had a perfect passer rating, or the Chiefs game where it was him and Mahomes putting up, like, there is no way you could have argued then that he is just bad quarterback. Like you couldn't do it. No, like I wouldn't do it. I was being like, oh yeah, you got to pay him. You got it, but you have to be hyper aware that once you pay these guys, like the roster is going to get worse. And when he had those seasons in 2018, the line was fantastic. The play calling was fantastic. And he was dealing, but you really got to think, and you really got to like evaluate and say, is this guy, because eventually we're going to have to pay you now. And then you're going to have to keep this up with worse stuff around you. And you really have to, like Garoppolo right now, we talk about EPA and like how Tua is number 1 in that stat. Garoppolo's number 7. I think Marcus Mariota is in the top 10 at this point in that statistic. It's like, we got to be aware of who is, a product of a system and who is like executing a very good situation to a good extent, but not someone who we should be talking about as he's putting the team on the back and carrying him. And Tua had some good throws. Like, I don't want to say like he's bad, but when you watch like Tyreek Hill just dunking on everybody, when you watch all of these plays where the guy is just running a crossing route, outruns everybody, and like it's just an easy throw in open space. Like there was so many against the worst defense in the league, the Detroit Lions.
Right.
Like yes, it was a good game from Tua. It was a great game from Tua statistically. Like he played. Well, the Dolphins are a really good team, I think. They're a really good offense with Tua, and they are like going to be there in the playoffs, and I think they could win some games once they get there. Like it is a good roster. It is a good coach. It's well coached, well schemed. Like I like the Dolphins. That's the craziest thing. It's like I enjoy watching this team. I enjoy studying this team. But like if we're going to talk about like the Acho back and forth with like me and him all like this time where he's like, well, he wins more than Herbert does. He wins more than this person does. That's the exact same logic that got everybody burned with Baker. That's the exact same logic that got everybody burned with Jared Goff. That's the exact same logic that get everybody burned with like Jimmy Garoppolo.
With
when
any player, dude.
It happens all the time. And it's like and I think most people know it about Tua. I don't think it's like the vast majority of people think that he's better than Herbert. Right. But like
you have to worry if the Dolphins see it that way.
Yeah.
Right. Are they going to invest all these resources around Tua and then move on from him? Or are they going to invest all these resources around him, see that, okay, now what if we could do better?
Right. Well, I think the take is like getting another quarterback it's not realistic. It's not. They're not going to do that. I don't know how they would. They forfeited their pick this year, which kind of makes the trade up stuff hard. And even then, drafting a rookie quarterback, unless you have like the number one overall, their odds of being better than Tua is honestly not that great. So the take with them, and this is true with every team, but more so even with the Dolphins, is that they need to win it before they have to pay Tua and Waddle. If they don't do that, once they have to pay both of them, we're talking about like $60-70 million off the table. You're talking about like 30% of the cap off the table, at least. Maybe not at least, but maybe somewhere around there. And it's going to be very, very hard to have this same team. And while Tua is good, but there's very few quarterbacks who are so good where you feel like you can actually give them all that money and still field the Super Bowl team. And I don't think he's that level because of the arm strength.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up Goff, because Goff does, I think, show a decent point of like the gap between like a truly elite quarterback, like a consistently top 10 to top 5 quarterback, and like Jared Goff is really, I don't think, that big. It's really just consistency, because Goff made some good throws today to Josh Reynolds that were dropped, like some really high level touchdown throws that should have been touchdowns, but he's not making those on a regular basis.
Goff is prone to a masterclass. That's the thing that's funny about him. In terms of he is like he is. He any given season he will have 2 or 3 masterclasses and then enough stinkers to where it doesn't really matter that much. But he will. You'll check a stat line every once in a while, and all of a sudden you'll be like 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And like 2 is going to be prone to those, right? It's just like the nature of it, but he's gonna be closer to Goff than he ever will be to Mahomes. It's just like,
it's also like if you watch the tape too, like I'm not convinced Tua has played well like in a lot of games this season, even though he's number 1 in all these efficiency stats. Like I don't think he played well in the Patriots games. I think that there was like a ton of guys wide open down the field that he missed. The next game was, what was that? After, was that just the Ravens game immediately after? I think it was the 6 touchdown one. He played well for the second half, right? That was a good quarter. The Bills game, I think he played relatively well. He wasn't asked. He only threw like 16 passes because the time of possession was so warped, but he played fine there. He was really bad in the first half of the Bengals game, and he threw that just horrific interception right before getting hurt where he underthrew that guy by like 10 yards. I don't know if that was one of the like craziest, like whoa, that thing should have been like 20 yards in front of where it was.
Now, to be fair, he was probably playing that Bengals game partially concussed.
That is the Bengals game was under dubious circumstances.
That's true. That one is. And then returning from like the Steelers game last week, there were 4 dropped picks, right? Like if 2 of those are caught, what does the dialogue look like with it? So I don't know. And like, he's probably better than Bridgewater. Like they couldn't do much with Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson, like, you know, but like you just remain self-aware about him. Oh my God, Josh Allen. I'm watching the game again. That was a crazy throw to a big post
so bro, to Diggs. The Bills are just so crazy.
What happened? What happened? Okay. Anyway, that's my Tua rant, and I don't want it to come across as like total hate. Like he's playing fine, you know. Overall, he played well today. It was a good game, but like just to all the you know Emmanuel Achos out there, like you just gotta be aware of why. Of assigning the proper credit across the team.
Right.
And to me, like Tua he's not Josh Allen. He's not Justin Herbert. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers.
Jalen Hurts.
Sure. And then like, but like he can't be better than, he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo, I think. Like, I think he's better than him. I think he's better than like a lot better than Goff. I think he's better than like, he's a good game manager right now, but just also got to like tone it down on some of the like, oh my God, he's better than someone who is legitimately like capable of putting a team on their back and carrying, I think. Yeah. But anyway.
Speaking of Jalen Hurts, I had someone try and tell me today that he's getting carried by A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown being out there definitely helps. But man.
He had some nice throws today that were just on the money. I think that they're not going to replace Hurts. I don't think they can. He's playing way too well.
No doubt.
At this point. And I'm super excited for him. I mean, it's really crazy if you go watch him back at Alabama. I mean, like, he got benched at Bama, you know,
for Tua,
and to turn into what he is now is just crazy. And that whole team is just so stacked. I really hope for a fantasy team, I hope they don't, because we have Miles Sanders, but I really hope they go make like a running back move and see how far they can take it, because people are talking about the Bills as a team that looks unbeatable. Dude, I think the Eagles are the team that looks unbeatable. I'm not saying they actually are, but
the Eagles are stacked on all fronts. I mean, Jordan Davis is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks, and I don't think that defense is gonna miss a beat. Like if the Bills lost, oh shit, I'm like blanking. Like if the Bills lost Greg Rousseau,
Ed Oliver,
like they wouldn't be in trouble, but they'd hurt a little bit.
I disagree completely.
You don't think they would hurt at all?
No, well, that happened. Ed Oliver missed games, and they were like, they've got crazy defensive line depth. Their front seven is nuts. Okay. If they miss Vaughn, maybe, but Vaughn and Jordan Davis are not on the same level.
That's why I didn't want to use Jordan Davis as a comparison.
They've got crazy front seven depth. That is one thing about the Bills is
okay.
Like in fact, I know it wouldn't, because it happened. They could lose Ed Oliver, and their defense would be fine. Although Ed Oliver's balling tonight, and I love Ed Oliver. Let it be known.
Ed Oliver's great, but I mean the Eagles are just top to bottom. I mean, we say this every week. They just continue to impress.
To me, I think the better comparison for the Eagles, like losing someone, if they were to lose Hurts and put in Gardner Minshew, they would be in a much, much better spot than if the Bills were to lose Josh Allen and put in Case Keenum. That is like
that's true.
I think that is maybe where like the depth of the Eagles, maybe in the scheme and the coaching of the Eagles and how they've built their team, maybe really comes into play.
Yeah, I don't know. I do kind of want, because their run game would drastically change.
It would.
Without the rushing.
I think it would hurt them pretty bad.
It would hurt them pretty bad.
I definitely see the world where they would have to, they have so much talent on offense that they could work around it. You know, Minshew's one of those guys where if you put him on like a stacked roster, he'll game manage. But losing Hurts would be huge. The other thing from this game, that Najee Harris play is truly the one where he gets it on like that 3rd and 3 or whatever.
Nico posted.
So he gets it on
Twitter.
this.
Okay.
Yeah, he gets it on this 3rd and 3, and he like tries to juke these guys out that he easily could have powered forward. It was bizarre to watch. It was like I don't know what the comp for it is. Maybe like the Ben Simmons layup, where it's like, dude, what are you doing? And it makes me think, there's running backs out there who just have problems with like getting in the right mentality to be physical like that, or not knowing who, we were talking just a second ago about Mac Jones thinking he's Lamar. Well, Najee Harris thinks that he's, I don't know, maybe
he thinks
Lamar,
he's Jamal. He thinks he's Lamar too. He thinks he's Mac
Everyone
Jones.
just thinks they're Lamar Jackson.
I saw Mac Jones lower the shoulder though. I saw him.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people were like, bro thinks he's Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders is lowering his shoulder. I'm just like...
Well, then Mac Jones isn't like Lamar. He's like Cam Newton. This is that Cam Newton mentorship coming back to life now.
Yes.
And
Cam was in his
you can see Cam's
bro
influence.
thinks he's Cam.
but with Najee, I just thought that was a really weird play. And I always think about that Eddie George talking to Derrick Henry and basically, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know that story where it's like,
he told
Derrick
Henry,
you need to run harder.
Jerome Bettis, where are you? Bettis, please talk to him. Adrian Peterson talked to Rashad Penny, and like after Adrian Peterson joined the Seahawks, Rashad Penny just became like the most efficient running back in like all of football for like the stretch of games from then until when he got hurt. They need to bring back Bettis.
Bro needs a mentor.
Yell
you
at
need
him.
a teacher. Like,
I was so excited for him too, because like there's an All-22 review I did on Najee because he averaged so few yards per carry last year. And last year, he has bad vision takes were not popular. They were not like, he tries to be a shifty guy when he's not. Like, that was basically the point of my video. And people were like, no, it's 100% the line. You're wrong. When even the Steelers said Najee was disappointed with the rookie, like, we were disappointed we expected more from Najee Harris's rookie year. But like this offseason, everybody was freaking out because he gained like 20 pounds or something like that. Like you remember that storyline? Like, oh my God, he's so heavy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, well, thank God he's that heavy, because now he's getting into he's bulking up. He's getting into that mindset where it's like, oh yeah, we're going to see him not try to like scat back, juke around anymore. He's getting in that mindset, and we just haven't seen it this year. And, he's got some talent for sure, but he's got to stop doing that.
He is one of the biggest running backs in the NFL. He is 6'2", like 230. Runs.
No running back has
run someone over, please.
No running back has ever gotten in trouble for being too north-south. It's like, just go the direction the first down marker is in, man.
Yeah, that's like, I think DeAndre Swift sometimes struggles with this as well. And he came back from injury today. And I think that was one thing I noticed watching him run today. It's like, bro, you are built like Mike Tolbert. You are 5'9", and you are like, just get small, and your balance is so good. Just like run right straight ahead. He doesn't do it all the time. He's talented and he's explosive, but like sometimes, like, I think that's a big reason why he was so inefficient last year, and it was popped up a little bit again today. So yeah. I'm ready to take an L. I thought Najee was better than ETN coming out of college. I might be ready to take an L on that take, because ETN has way more big play ability, and like he's not really, I don't think of him as like the most north and south, like decisive runner ever. But he's someone that, and Najee has a pass protection, which is really, I think, a way stronger for him than it is for ETN. So, like, maybe I'm not totally willing, but it's getting that one. I like ETN. I like ETN. I like the Jaguars rushing offense, and I like how explosive he is. But yeah.
Are you missing out on some of your favorite shows because they're available only in a different region? Want to up your cybersecurity? Well, let me introduce you to our friends over at NordVPN. I've been using NordVPN for years because I prefer the European version of NFL Game Pass, and they really just make it so simple. Using NordVPN, you can easily watch content from all over the world, or even if you're working over in the Empire. Now get this, if you go to nordvpn.com/stayhot, you can receive a huge discount on a 2-year plan and 1 month free. Frankly, I wish I had the software when I was starting to use it. Not to mention, by using NordVPN, you are much more secure surfing the internet, with Nord encrypting your IP and location so they never get out. Plus, with their new threat protection feature, you can stop worrying so much about malware and intrusive ads. Even if an infected file finds its way onto your device, threat protection kicks in and removes the file. And now, with their 30-day money-back guarantee, there is literally no risk if you're not satisfied. So go on, upgrade your internet browsing experience with NordVPN over at nordvpn.com/stayhot. Again, that is nordvpn.com/stayhot. Should we talk about the fraudulence of the New York Football Giants and how they haven't beat anyone good all year long? And the 2 times they've played good teams, they've lost.
Is that your take?
Here's the thing, right? They came into this game where they had not scored 30 points once this year, and you're looking at a team that was 5-2, right? And it's like, oh well, Daniel Jones is playing better this year, and I'm like, you're winning. You've won games where you've scored less than 20 points. You're not going to be able to do that. Like, you might make the playoffs. You might, right? Weak NFC, you might make the playoffs. You're going to get the dog shit kicked out of you by whoever you play in the first round. You're going to get
unless it's the Falcons.
Unless it's the Falcons. But like, you play the Seahawks, you're getting crushed like you did today. You play the Cowboys, because the first time they played the Cowboys, who was at quarterback?
It was Cooper Rush.
It was Cooper Rush. Right. You play Dak Prescott's Cowboys, you're getting smoked. Like, you play any team that has any resemblance of a high-powered offense, you're getting crushed.
I disagree with that. I don't think they look that bad today. I think Richie
I don't think they're
James,
bad, but like they will not be able to hang with upper echelon teams. Like at all.
Yes. I mean, yes, but I thought they hung with the Seahawks today. I don't think the Seahawks just thoroughly came in there and dominated them. Richie James fumbled 2 punts, which just gave the Seahawks 10 points, which is about
Tyler
the margin.
Lockett dropped a wide open touchdown. Like,
I mean, I think it was Marquise Goodwin that dropped the wide open touchdown. But yeah, I mean, you could go back. You play this game like 100 times. It's not like the Giants get blown out every time. I don't think they were like thoroughly exposed to like there's fluky fumbles. And yes, you're right. Like Marquise Goodwin, there were times where I thought like Giants play a lot of man coverage, but they haven't played like a really great wide receiving core yet. And there was that time where Marquise Goodwin, he was the only wide receiver out there. They were in really heavy personnel. It was only Marquise Goodwin. It looked like run. I think it was off play action, and he had this big crossing route, and he's so fast, like he was just able to run away from Adoree Jackson.
Oh, I was talking about a different play. Then there were 2 dropped touchdowns. There was Tyler Lockett had it wasn't. I guess
are you talking about the one where he didn't get both feet down in bounds?
No, he just like it like hit the front of his face mask. He just like didn't.
I had multiple games going on at the same time.
Yeah,
I must not have seen that one. There was one where he didn't get both feet down on a beautiful Geno throw. But that was decent coverage. And then there was the double move where he actually scored. And I think Adoree Jackson totally bit on the double move. And you were able
it was like
to
the drive before that. He had one just like bounce off the front of his face mask. And then when he caught that one, they said like redemption because it was like
okay, that makes sense. I thought it was redemption for the fumble because he got stripped at like the 1 yard line, which also I guess like if we're gonna
right, so it's like
the fumble.
There's things that it could have gone like if this doesn't happen, then maybe they win by 40 instead of, or maybe they score 40 instead of 27, right? I don't think part of it is like I think the Seahawks they just get better. Like their defense looks better every single week. I feel like that was my kind of main takeaway. I didn't think the Giants defense totally got exposed in this game. I don't think the Giants they don't have they were getting some decent pressure with their like simulated pressures. I know there was a chunk of the game where the Seahawks center was out, which may have caused some problems, but he was in it for most of the game. But overall, I thought their offensive personnel was really where this got exposed. I thought like the Seahawks weren't giving him a lot of good rushing looks. I think the Seahawks were playing, I think if I had to guess, they were playing a lot more man coverage than they usually do and heavier boxes than they usually do, and saying like, we're not going to let Saquon beat us. I know that our corners are like young and inexperienced, but we're gonna live in man coverage more than we have anyway. And it just seemed like there just was not much separation. Even on completions, like Darius Slayton would have to like rip it away from someone. They'd really have to box someone out on like a curl route or something. It wasn't a whole lot of separation on this day, and the running looks weren't good because they were really, really jamming up the box. So I think this was the game where they allowed 5 sacks. So like that's the other problem. So I think we're on the same take here.
I think so too.
I don't think the Giants offense can keep up with other offenses. That's what I was trying to get at.
Yes. My take is the same as it was a couple weeks ago, where it's like, this is not really a Super Bowl contender, but there is a chance they play some horrible team in the NFC playoffs. They could play Washington in the NFC playoffs. Like, who knows? They're 4-4.
I mean, Atlanta's 4 and what are they?
They're 3. They have 3.
For 4-4 or whatever, Matt.
No, they're 4 wins. They're 4-4. If the
4-4.
Panthers won, they would have been the lead with 3 wins. But yeah, like that's kind of. I think they like are scrappy. I think the Giants are like decent enough to contend for the wild card in a weak NFC. They could even win a playoff game because the NFC is so weak. But yeah, I think you and me are mostly on the same page here. I just don't think they got like totally. Like they hung in this game for a long time. I don't think it was like a total annihilation by the Seahawks, but that's quite the moral victory.
Run game wasn't. Run game wasn't there.
Didn't get annihilated. Hang the banner. Didn't get annihilated by the Seahawks.
by the best quarterback in football, Geno Smith, or should we talk
really
about
good,
the best quarterback in football, PJ Walker, the best quarterback in the NFC South?
Yeah, let's talk about this game.
I didn't realize that Hail Mary pass,
Matt,
70. That went 70 yards in the air.
That was one of the greatest plays ever, like in football history. That play, that was like
that was crazy.
That was like the Janice Hail Mary like level good, and that's absolutely an all time like.
And they lost
play. DJ Moore shouldn't have been so excited. All his fault.
Mostly on DJ Moore for taking off his helmet. I think we
could all agree when he said that. I said that classless franchise has what's coming to it. We'll get what's coming to it. Matt, you have the floor though.
You know, you can't rag the team too much because it's like fucking, make your kicks. It's like we would sit here and compliment the Panthers if this guy could make an extra point or an extra point, basically. So I don't know what to say. It was a very Panthers way to lose it. They break. I like the guys, and they're so for a team that would be the third overall pick. They're so close. They're right there. The run game is fantastic. It really is. This offensive line that they put together, pass protection can be wishy-washy, but yeah, the running like Icky, for example, I see the vision. I do now see the vision. Oh my God, man, he is a baller. And for the most part, they're actually not bad. And Foreman had a great game. And Terrence Marshall Jr. even started to show up a little bit all of a sudden, which really makes you question, what was Matt Rule thinking?
He was so good. His college tape was like really promising. Like it was really good. And then all of a sudden he just was like, this man will never ever see the football field. If only he went to Temple.
It was so confusing. I was like, this dude was like this close from the practice squad.
Yeah, no, he was going to get like cut. And now he had near 100 yards today. So that stuff looks good. And the defense is more good players than bad. I'd rag the corners a little bit. And that Demir Bird touchdown was pretty bad, but both the corners I would rag had interceptions. So I can't say anything today. But it's just, they're doing it. Like they're winning 5 games and not getting a quarterback. I have seen this one before. How many teams right now in the NFL are like wasting their time with like unserious quarterback solutions? We're going to trade a third for Matt Ryan. We're going to trade 2/3 for Carson Wentz. We're going to start Daniel Jones. Like blah, 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 blah. The Panthers are just stuck in this loop. They're too competitive. And I would say that they're probably just a little bit too talented. And unfortunately, PJ Walker is just a little bit too good. He has really surprised me. He's don't get me wrong. He is not a long-term quarterback solution, but he will play good halves. He will play good quarters. He will make good throws. He started off this game really horrible, but he turned it around. And the rest of the offense is kind of there, but they are just not going to quite be bad enough to get the quarterback they need, and they're going to be stuck like this forever. So I know they're third right now. I feel very strongly that it probably will not end up being that way.
PJ, I think a year or two ago, he came out of the XFL. I think it was 2020. He made his NFL debut after balling out in the XFL, and he played the Lions. And everybody wanted me to go review that game, and I remember doing it and just being like, "Oh my God!" Like he was making throws. Like there are games like where real NFL quarterbacks will go through stretches of games sometimes and not make a throw where I'm like, good God, and he made like 3 in that game. I was like, who is this guy? And then so I was always under the impression that he was like a little good. And then like a year and a half later, I checked his stats and he had like 1 career touchdown and like 7 career picks. And then I was like, well, maybe he's not good. But now he's starting to remind me again.
Like, then he had like
he's a little tantalizing
in like 5 years.
Yes, dude, this was like one of the all-time great throws in NFL history. 70 yards in the air is
rolling to his left.
Nuts. That's so nuts. A 70-yard dime
he's
what the fuck?
And it's just, the quarterback situation will be next year. I can tell you right now, so you can go ahead and start coping if you're a Panthers fan. It will be PJ Walker as the bridge quarterback for Matt Corral. And then when PJ Walker inevitably has a couple game stretch where he has too many misfires, they're throwing Matt Corral to the Wolves. And maybe Corral will be good. I'll say this. Good. At least PJ Walker and Matt Corral, they may not be good quarterbacks, but they both at least have the juice so where they're worth watching. At least both those guys have arms and can
Darnold,
move.
who also has that.
Oh, sweet! But we know and we have Sam
the beauty with Corral is you don't know. It's fun, right?
I have a guess.
He's a third-round quarterback, but here's the thing. But he can be the exception because he was hurt his last season, and so everyone didn't have the time to get high on him. And what's the guy's name? Chris Sims had him as his quarterback one, and he's never been wrong before. Yes, I see it all now. But he did have the 2019 quarterback.
It's really Chris Sims had the 2019 quarterback rankings right before he changed them later, and they were all wrong.
I'm changing my quarterback.
They were right. They were right before,
and if any one of them looked pretty,
he also changed them this year. He changed a couple of them around near the end. Also, but Chris Sims. No, hey, I don't want to just rag on every industry guy like Acho and Chris Sims and
we
whatnot.
are literally
when I have been wrong.
Sims, I think is actually. I actually think Sims is good. The thing that bothers me is that if he's gotten to the point where it's if he puts a quarterback at one, people will be like, "That's it, he's good for sure." It's
Sims,
Chris Sims said he's quarterback one. It's okay, let's
track record.
Yeah.
I'm really
never getting another guest on this podcast. It looks like
well, Chris Sims. Look, Chris Sims. I respect him a little bit because that guy, more than anyone else, does not subscribe to groupthink. He will release his top 5 players in the draft, and it'll be some guy a projected undrafted free agent number 3, and Akudo won't be the number 1 corner in the year. I have a lot of respect for Eddie. His takes are interesting. I'll give him that. I do think that he puts in more work than some other analysts.
Yes, he has very legit opinions where he is obviously formed them himself, and you're not ever gonna agree with anyone all the time.
Sometimes I wonder how, why, but I do respect. I have some respect for Sims. Although I will say, after the Zach Wilson Broncos game, which was a total disaster. He had Zach Wilson as his number 1 quarterback. And he was like, I can't believe any Jets fan would watch this and say he played bad. What am I not seeing? It's damn well what you're not seeing from that Broncos game. But yeah. But anyway, that's a whole Chris Sims aside.
The Falcons are also, God bless them, shout out to them, man. I can't be mad. They played a real good game. I think that they've been in the fight a lot. Their running game is very good, despite the lack of talent they are making do with is just unbelievable.
Damari Bird should not be in this league.
You look,
which is weird to say because he had to play today. If Tyreek Hill made that play, I would come on this podcast and say that's why he's the best wide receiver in the league because no one else could do that. Damari Bird just did that, but he has sabotaged plays so many times in the past, and he's
don't talk about
Panther legend and Gamecock legend.
Do not talk
legend.
about
the
GOAT,
for this,
Demir
man.
Bird. Demir Bird's also a Madden legend. That man is so fast,
and he's
that
fast.
Man is so fast.
No, I think he's good.
Speed, that's all that matters. Actually, if you run a 4.2.
But the other thing is it just goes to show. With these teams, I know this is everyone knows this, but the team culture and you can have a coach that people just don't like, and you can bring in a guy, Steve Wilkes, who I don't think is some genius X's and O's guy, but he's at least got them playing like a serious football team, has got them motivated, and all of a sudden they are double the team that they once were. And the only thing I really regret from this Panthers season is that they did not. If they had Wilkes from game 1, they would be in the lead for the division right now. They would not have gone 1-5 through those first or 1-4 through those first 5 games.
Yeah, Arthur's. You say they're not going to get a quarterback, but I see it all very clearly. This is just hurtling directly towards Stroud being a Panther after all the shit that you've talked and how much you've walked Stroud.
Well, he's very accurate. He's very accurate.
That's a really nice.
I'm worried about the pocket presence.
Stroud made a play to this past weekend, and I was like, and it was like I can't remember exactly what happened, but all I remember is I just looked at my boy Zach and I was like, Bryce Young would have never done that.
No, see, I'm not that low on Stroud. I just think that like there are obvious concerns with him, but like, yeah, like I get why he's considered like a top pick. Obviously, I can see the vision with the accuracy, but also, dog, he's playing with one of the most stacked offenses ever around him, dude.
He's got a Heisman wide receiver who should probably be the Heisman favorite right now. He's got a tackle who's going to get taken in the top 10. And then
tackle that should be a
Jackson
Heisman
Smith and
right
I guess
now.
Yes, yeah.
Whole offensive line sick. All the receivers are sick. Cade Stover's sick. Play calling is great. Like it's just.
But you're gonna get I've given you the stamp of Stroud hater. I don't care what you say, and it's just hurtling towards Bryce. Bryce is going to be number one. He's going to go number one with these Stroud disaster classes these past 2 weeks.
Bryce Young will like go to the Saints or something. Just the worst thing they don't have their picks. So never mind.
They don't have their picks.
We're safe.
Yes. He'll go to the Buccaneers.
I don't know.
No, he's going to be a Texan. Like it's. The Texans not only are bad, they also have the Browns pick, and they're bad. So even if they don't have the first pick, they're going to have 2 picks in the top 10, and they're going to trade up and get Bryce Young.
We've talked a lot about.
He's a Texan.
We're about an hour into this, and we've talked a lot about. This has just kind of been a young quarterbacks episode where we're just talking about quarterbacks. But one I want to talk about is Trevor Lawrence, who had my boy.
What happened?
What happened?
No, man, what happened?
He played bad. He played bad. Is what happened.
Is great,
but
I'm not liking it with him. No,
you're not liking it. This is the thing with where are my notes here? Okay, where are my notes here? People talk about him after this game.
He's got to pull up the note.
People talk about him like he is the same as Zach Wilson. Like, okay, Zach Wilson sucks. He can't do anything right. And Trevor Lawrence is just as bad, or he's just as bad as Mac Jones. He's just as bad as all of these quarterbacks. The problem with Trevor Lawrence is he's always bad when like people are watching and like with things that people care about, which is like, can you just win games? Can you win a shootout? Are you good when you're clutch? Like that's what people want to see. And he just has not done it. He has not done it. But which is why it's so hard to like try to say anything nice about him, but he is at a different level than all of these other rookie quarterbacks. Is he like the top of the league right now? Like amazing quarterback? Like, no, he's not an amazing quarterback right now, but he is at a very different level than all the other second year quarterbacks. I'm going to read off some stats about the Jaguars offense, and I don't know what they look like now. This was going into this game. Yeah. And obviously this was a bad game, so these are all a little bit different now, but the Jaguars going into this game were the 7th ranked passing offense in DVOA. 7th. The Bears with Fields are 31st. The Jets were 23rd. New England was 22nd. Houston was 27th. Okay. The Jaguars were 7th. We're number 7. Okay. So he's leading a much better passing offense. Yards per drive. The amount of yards the offense is picking up every time they get the football. Jacksonville, they're 4th going into this game. Again, this was a bad game, but like before this, he was not playing that bad. It was 4th in the whole league. The Jets, 28th. Chicago, 25th. Houston with Mills, 24th. New England with Zappi and Jones, 20th. Like his EPA per play, I think this is even after this disaster class, is 15th. Middle of the pack, it's fine. It's average. Mills, 34th. Zach Wilson, 30th. Mac Jones, 25th. And then Fields is 19th, which actually surprised me with how high that was. But he is, and then so like statistically, he is leading better offenses than all the other second-year quarterbacks. These numbers are not horrible. The Jaguars' offense if you just like look at, they're bad in the red zone. That's the thing, is like people will watch, the Jaguars on red zone, and it's also very important to score points. And they won't see Trevor Lawrence doing anything good because he's not good in the red zone, and he's not good in these like late close situations. He just doesn't have that like takeover, like, oh my God, you got down here, you did such a good job. Oh, you got the team in a position to win. Just like win, please.
Right.
You did so good to get down here. It kills me.
This is starting to sound like Justin Herbert type stuff, man, where it's just excuses for the losing.
It kills me because it's like I see him do all these good things. It's like his pocket presence is like undeniably, the movement is good. He's like a twitchy athlete. Like the sacks went so far down going from Gardner Minshew to Trevor Lawrence. Like he does a really good job maneuvering the pocket. I've seen him read like 1, 2, 3, 4, like I've seen him make these big reads. They'll run him on quarterback power like he's Josh Allen. He's pretty good at it. Like he's a good athlete. He can run around. He's got good arm talent. That corner route to Evan Ingram today, I mean, he just loaded that thing up. That was a laser beam. He's like, you look at, if I just described his traits to you, okay, big, tall quarterback, good poise, good arm strength. He can run. You can run like designed quarterback runs with him. With the poise and all that. And he doesn't always make the right decisions. He tries to force things in the red zone, and his accuracy, he tries to like really gun it in there. So he has like way more bad misses than you'd like to see. But overall, the poise is there. The natural talent is there. And overall, he like is capable of making like full field reads and does it somewhat frequently. You'd be like, yes, sign me up. Right. And those are traits that Lawrence has, but I don't know if it, like he had that article in like Sports Illustrated or something where he's like, I don't really have a chip on my shoulder and winning doesn't motivate me. Like, I don't know if he just doesn't have that, like that dog in him. I don't know if he's like, has this like competitive fire to like put the team on his back and win or these close games or what. I don't know what it is, why it just never seems to.
I think
this agenda will never actually be, this agenda will never thrive unless he starts actually like winning a shootout, putting a team on his back. He just hasn't done it yet, despite all these traits. And honestly, these like half decent results this season. Like I'm still waiting to see that. And it's like, more than when I watch Wilson, more than when I watch all the other second year quarterbacks. It's like, he's this close. He's so close, but you just gotta make one more leap. From, like, I think from last year to this year was a good leap. He's got to do it one more time. And,
right.
That's what I'm waiting for. And today against a very good defense, like there wasn't much there for him.
Yeah,
that red zone pick, I don't know what the hell he was doing. Yeah, and I would have, that throw in the game losing pick was also not a good one. So I'd like to see more touch on the ball. I'd like to see more accuracy, and I'd like to actually get rewarded for pushing this agenda once, because like you got to be stronger than the Marines to continue to push this Trevor Lawrence agenda. But sadly, I will keep doing it for all the losers and haters out there who want me to give up.
Yeah, I mean, that really is the problem, is that they, you mentioned they were a top 10 passing offense coming into this game. They played the number 1 pass defense today. Not number 2, not number 7, the best pass defense in football. They have a great front 7. They can get after the quarterback, and they might have the best corner in football in Pat Surtain, right? The big thing that like stands out when you look at like their defensive numbers, like they don't get a lot of interceptions, right? They're not forcing a ton of turnovers. It's because you can't throw the ball. You're not getting the ball off, right? You have to hold on to the ball because no one's open, and then you get sacked. That is their pass defense, and it's perfect. They have the best defense in the league. And I know what people are going to say. Theo, you just made a whole video about Zach Wilson playing badly against the Denver defense, and you said that he sucked. But where is that video on Trevor Lawrence? Gotcha. That's what they're going to say. And here's the answer. I was hungover after the Halloween party, and I missed the Jaguars game because I'm not waking up at 6 a.m. Pacific time to watch Jaguars Broncos when like I was not feeling very good. First of all, okay, so I will watch it, and I did watch it. I watched the Jaguars offense like on the condensed version. I speed ran the film, and I was like, okay, Lawrence didn't play very well.
I will watch. So that's why I didn't tweet and condemn Trevor Lawrence to death in this game. I will make a film breakdown on it when the All 22 gets out. They're like, why haven't you instantly reacted to this? It's like, I'm sorry, there were other forces at work. Maybe that makes me
other forces. It's Halloween, guys. Give Theo.
It's Halloween, dude. It's Saturday on Halloween weekend. All right, and the game started at 6 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, just cut me some slack,
the NFL schedulers have to be better than this. They have to plan better than this.
No London games on Halloween weekend, but
no London games on Halloween weekend.
Or at least make the London game at a weird time, like an inappropriate time, so us here on the Pacific Coast can watch the game properly. But anything else? This was a huge quarterback episode. Any other performances or?
I mean, McCaffrey.
Oh yeah,
coming in for the 49ers.
He balled.
Was pretty good. Pretty good at football.
McVay owns McVay. No, not McVay owns. Shanahan just owns McVay. It's very funny. They like McVay just cannot beat the 49ers. It just cannot happen ever, I guess. Yeah. Rams are the worst offense in the league in offensive EPA per play right now. Number 32 below the Texans. That's
not good.
That's not good.
It's not
can't
good.
Have games like that.
Yeah.
But
no, you can't.
Other than McCaffrey having an absolutely great game. I think what he had 2 touchdowns today. Is that right? 2 touchdowns, like 150 all-purpose yards.
He had 2 and 1 throwing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do a whole lot better than that.
Apparently, Fields had another decent game today. That was one I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to because it was, looked like a pretty easy Cowboys win right off the bat. So I was like, I'll devote my attention elsewhere. I do want everyone who actually thought that Cooper Rush could lead the offense better than Dak Prescott to live the rest of their life with a bike lock around their neck that says easily tricked by QB wins. They need some sort of mark on their body that is just easily fooled. The caste system in ancient Southern Asia or whatever it was, where the lowest of the low had to wear something to make sure people knew that they were the lowest of the low. Any Cooper Rush over Dak truthers need a big tall dunce cap. Because Dak is a lot better than Cooper Rush.
A sweater with Cooper Rush's face on it.
Cooper Rush is not putting up 49 against anyone. Okay.
No.
So that's the other thing I want to say.
Even the Chicago Bears. But no, I mean, Justin Fields didn't look bad today. Justin Fields is a guy where we talk about all these second-year quarterbacks. It's do you give Zach Wilson another year? Do you give, Justin Fields is the guy you can give another year. I was iffy on this take last week. I'm fully convinced that you see enough really high-level throws. You see enough where you're okay, this guy has no help. Zero help. Velas Jones
There's a really bad dropped. Yeah.
Velas Jones had an awful drop. That was a money throw. And I mean, Zach Wilson isn't going to have that. I mean, Zach Wilson's throwing to some pretty good receivers, right?
Garrett Wilson, 100 yards today.
Garrett Wilson's really good.
Hey.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson's really good. Trevor Lawrence doesn't have stellar weapons, but Zay Jones and Christian Kirk are real wide receivers at least.
Yeah, it's in the 15 to 20 range.
Yeah, they deserve to be on NFL rosters. It's not like they were rocking Laquan Treadwell, right? So that's the thing. It's not like Velas Jones is getting real, or Equinemius St. Brown is your leading receiver. That's not So the Bears are in a position where okay, I can give Justin Fields another year. Let's get some weapons in there. Let's see if we can actually build something with this team. So especially against that Dallas defense, the Dallas defense is good. For him to have looked salvageable today, I think was really impressive. But
yeah, I agree. I'd like to see him throw it more. Still, I'd like to see him line up.
Speaking of guys, I'd like to see throw it more. We ended up picking up Malik. This will be the last thing we'll head out because I know we're at an hour and 8 minutes and our producer's yelling at us. But we started Malik Willis in fantasy today because Justin Herbert was on a bye. So we just picked up Malik Willis, which probably was a mistake. but we won because Garoppolo was available, and but we thought, you know what, maybe it'll work out, and he threw the ball like 6 times.
That's exactly what the Jets should be doing with Zach Wilson, by the way. Malik Willis and Zach Wilson are not like totally incomparable prospects coming out of like school. Like a lot of natural talent. They can make like, they are capable of making crazy plays, but like, holy cow, dude. Sometimes like, why aren't you throwing it over the middle of the field, Malik? Why aren't you throwing it, even in college? Why aren't you throwing it over the middle of the field, Zach Wilson, no matter what? Why are you completely avoiding that area? And why you just turn your back to the defense when you don't need to? Malik Willis win the 3rd round. Zach Wilson win the 2nd overall. And Malik Willis, they know what they have in him. And they're like, we're not going to let you throw the ball at all. That's that's what kind of what they were doing when Breece Hall was around. But that's the Zach Wilson. Like, take a page out of the Titans book and just play Derrick.
Yeah.
Get yourself a Derrick Henry.
His exact stat, he was 6 for 10,
defense.
55 yards and a pick. He threw it 10 times and managed to turn it over. And then he ran the ball 5 times and got 12 yards. So, yeah, we should have picked up Garoppolo. Tried to be too cute. Tried to be cute. Win some, lose some. But I think that pretty much wraps things up for us. I don't have anything else. As always, from Lord Vader. Theo, who are you again from The Breakfast Club? I haven't watched it either.
Bender.
As always, from Matthew Spawnhour, Bender from The Breakfast Club, and Darth Vader. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will catch you all on the flippity flop.